This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Once you cross this world and into that unconscious state, you will vividly be present in everything you see. Closer and closer you go. Are we dreaming?
MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes, the bullshiesky. Yes, the bullshiesky that we do around here on the Rated R Safety Show. Anyways, how are you? I hope you are coming off a fantastic weekend. And, you know, I guess a dark one. And when I say that, you're probably looking at me going, what? Well, I mean, if you're in daylight savings time, it's probably still dark. Or is it now? Matter of fact, no. Is it dark? Yeah, it's dark, or maybe it's bright. Who knows? In regards to how these time changes work. Anyway, so today's Monday, November the 6th. Yes, November the 6th of 2023, day 310th of the year, and only 55 days left to go. Yeah, that's it. The 55er. So, are you glad that we're almost over? Or are you going, Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM and hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Oh, yes, hanging out with the big radio people over there. You know, we do what we do over there at Radio Big because it's kind of the layout of the land. It's just the stuff that we do, no doubt about that. So let's get into it because there's all kinds of stuff to talk about. We are a show that talks about safety and the news and safety. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's perfectly fine. It's the best of both worlds, is the way that I look at it. At least that's from my standpoint. Also, as we go through it, you have the opportunity of calling into the show, texting into the show, video messaging, audio messaging. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. We are a radio show first that goes into a podcast that goes into a video method. So you have options of watching us on video if you're so inclined to do so. You don't have to be that kind of inclined, but you have the option. So there you go. So inclined to actually doing the video with us, you're more than welcome on doing that. We're available on social media platforms where we normally don't check any messaging that goes over there until almost the end of the show. Yeah. I know. I just try to keep it real when I say it, opposed to it being one of those things that you're not sure that I'm telling you. But I'm telling you, it's normally not until the very end that we get to everything. I don't know. Don't hate me for saying the truth. So there you go. Why don't we start talking right away about what the hell is the trend of the end, because that is what we do. We start talking about trending stuff because people want to know that stuff.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so if I start taking a look at the trends, a billionaire relocates And an anthropologist makes a spooky find, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Matthew Perry is laid to rest, and Jessica Simpson celebrates a milestone of sobriety journey. Networks are still feeling the fallout of the dual Hollywood strikes. We'll talk more about that in casting calls. And then we'll have some information from all the other stuff that is going on inside of the world, because that is what we do. So don't worry about that. Anyway, so we do have all kinds of, how can I put it? Professional broadcasters that come out and hang out with us, because if we didn't, I don't know exactly how we would do the majority of the show. No, seriously. I just wouldn't know what to do, because that's what they do. They broadcast to their heart's desire, because they're the pros. I, on the other hand, is kind of, I sit back and I assist, because they're definitely running the show around here. You've heard the term running the show. Anyways, with that being said, I have Mark Mayfield waiting in the wings, wanting to take it all away for you. That way he can tell you what's going on with the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. An Israeli official has been suspended indefinitely after he suggested dropping a nuclear bomb on the Gaza Strip. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu criticized the far-right heritage minister Sunday after he said in a radio interview that an atomic bomb is an option in dealing with the ongoing war against Hamas. Netanyahu posted on social media that those comments were not based in reality. Secretary of State Antony Blinken made a pair of unannounced visits to the Middle East on Sunday. Chris Caraggio has the story.
First, Blinken met with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas during a surprise stop on the occupied West Bank. Later, he traveled to Iraq on the third day of his tour of the region as the war between Israel and Hamas rages. Speaking in Baghdad, Blinken said he believes progress is being made as the U.S. works to keep the conflict from spreading. I'm Chris Caraggio.
Newly elected House Speaker Mike Johnson is defending a House bill that provides more than $14 billion in aid to Israel by cutting an equal amount of funding to the IRS.
That money from this giant fund, over $67 billion that's sitting there to build up the IRS, it's more important to protect Israel right now than it is to hire more IRS agents.
Speaking on Fox News Sunday, the Louisiana Republican talked about a new way of doing business in Congress. Johnson said he wants Congress to find ways for spending measures instead of adding to the national debt. The bill that was passed in the House by a 226 to 196 margin faces opposition from both Democratic and Republican leaders in the Senate. President Biden, who asked Congress for a $105 billion emergency aid package that includes Ukraine, said he would veto Johnson's bill if it clears the Senate. And Elon Musk is debuting Grok, the first technology from his new AI company, XAI. The company says it's modeled on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The prototype is in its early beta phase, and only a small number of users will have access before a wider release. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Israel says it would need to see progress on the release of hostages before any humanitarian pauses in its offensive in Gaza. Australia's Prime Minister says his country needs to cooperate with China where it can on a visit to the country. Primary schools in India's capital, New Delhi, will remain shut for another week because of smog, and Nepal's government trying to get aid to affected areas after more than 150 people died in an earthquake.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Former President Trump is scheduled to take the stand in the Trump Organization's civil fraud trial in New York today. Scott Carr has more.
Trump's sons, Eric and Donald Trump Jr., testified last week in the trial that accuses the Trump family organization of inflating their wealth to obtain better loans. Daughter Ivanka Trump will testify Wednesday despite her attempt to legally block it, telling the court she would suffer undue hardship if forced to testify in the middle of a school week. Last week, presiding Judge Arthur Engoron prohibited Trump's attorneys from making any further comments about confidential communications between the judge and his staff. Judge Engoron says 3 of Trump's lawyers falsely accused his law clerk of bias and of improperly influencing the trial. I'm Scott Carr.
The president of Ukraine says he would only need 24 minutes to convince former President Trump that it would take much longer than he thinks to end the war against Russia.
Former President Trump said that about 24 hours that he can manage it and finish the war. For me, what can I say?
Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky disputed Trump's claim that he could end the war in just one day if he wins the 2024 presidential election. Zelensky added he doesn't know if Trump would even continue U.S. support for Ukraine if he returns to the White House. And there's no change in the top three in this weekend's box office, as Five Nights at Freddy's remains at number one. The horror film, based on a video game, took in almost $19.5 million in its second week in theaters. Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, holds at number two with $13.5 million, and the Martin Scorsese-directed Killers of the Flower Moon stays in third with $7 million. After a limited release last week, the biopic Priscilla about Priscilla Presley comes in at number 4 with just over $5 million. The top debut is the Spanish-language movie Radical, which ranks 5th. Radical is based on the true story of a teacher who tries to improve a struggling school in a neglected Mexican border town. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely, lovely Monday. Yes, it's lovely. You know, it is. It is kind of lovely. It's a little bit darker than what I'm used to, but hey, that's just kind of the way that it goes with the stuff that happens. But, you know, when some people would go, what, isn't it later in the day? Well, I guess to some extent it's later in the day, but it's really earlier if you really think about it, because it's just a whole full of, you know, of messes. Anyway, so let's start talking. Let's start talking about some stuff. Let's start talking about the shit list. That way we have some stuff that we can offer up to some of our competitors out there for they can share as well. So Jeff Bezos relocating to Miami from Washington State. The Amazon founder said on Instagram post that he wants to be closer to where his folks are, and his space company Blue Origin is increasingly launching rockets from NASA's facilities in Cape Canaveral. Bezos currently owns 2 mansions in Miami, together worth about $147 million. Worth noting, Washington Supreme Court recently held up a new law in the state that applies 7% taxes on capital gains. This year, Bezos had unloaded nearly $2.7 million or 2.7 million shares in Amazon worth several hundreds of millions of dollars. So, you know, doing the math, yeah, it might make some sense to do the move to Florida, where there is no state tax. Yeah. Just throwing that out there. Want to sell weed legally? Well, the United Food and Commercial Workers Unions is here to help. The labor group is offering classes to people in New York and New Jersey to become certified cannabis professionals. In the first of its own kind, participants learn how to be mechanics of growing pot, but also how to sell it in various forms and comply with various regulations. This is according to the New York Post. I have to tell you, the little state that I live in, there's weed schools. Because apparently you have to have some kind of a license to be able to do it and all that kind of fun stuff and how to grow it. And I guess you need to be certified in some way, shape, or form in regards to doing it. The weed industry is so interesting to me. I have an acquaintance, because definitely not a friend, that was actually working for a construction company and decided to do that because he was doing health and safety over there, but now he's doing health and safety for the weed companies, or for a weed company, which I thought was pretty interesting, because I would like to have some more details about it, not more product. I mean, I said I would like to have more details, just to have a better understanding of what's going on.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Okay, Tyson's Foods has announced a recall for its frozen dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets over concerns with some packages that are contained with metal pieces. Yes, I did say metal pieces. Consumers in 9 states could be affected. Fortunately, only one minor injury has been reported so far. Just so you know, this is all coming via the USDA, just for information purposes. Now, I can go into the nitty-gritty, if you like, the nitty-gritty of information. There is a phone number to call. It's 1-855-382-3101. That's 1-855-382-3101. So they will say that the best buy-in date will be involved between September the 2nd, 2024, rather than September the 4th, just in case. So September the 2nd, and there are some incidents. They're saying that it's distributors mostly in Alabama, California, Illinois, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, Virginia, and Wisconsin. So let's do that again. Alabama, California, Illinois, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, Virginia, and Wisconsin. So just be on the lookout if you have the bagger-aggers that belong to those areas, because it could be something different. Let's go into good old Florida, because, you know, we have so much fun talking about it. Thrift shopper in Fort Myers, Florida area spotted a spooky find at a resale shop. And yeah, it was a human skull. Go figure, the man himself is a professional anthropologist who called the police when he noticed that the skull on the shelf. Responding to authorities, arrived and asked the store owner for details. The owner says that he got the skull from a storage unit purchased at auction years ago. Fortunately, no foul play is suspected at the time, but Florida law does expressly prohibit the purchase or sale of human remains. This is according to CBS News. So here's my question. We're not talking about spinal remains like the Misfits. But let's say that you accidentally bought this thinking that, you didn't know it was real, per se. Like, how much trouble would you get into? I mean, I'm just kind of, I kind of want to know this. I'm kind of curious because it's a morbid enough story to make it more morbid to talk about as we go into it. I know.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yeah, trying to be something, all right. Anyways, are all the nuts making you extra nutty this year? Yeah, experts say that it's because it's a mass year of nut-bearing trees. Trees from those black walnuts, beeches, and acorns on and off for years, with on years being referred to as mass years because of the vigorous production of nuts. Don't fret because, well, on years of off will follow. Science causes mass years in certain nut-bearing trees, and scientists just aren't sure, though, that they believe that temperature variation and natural rainfall may be the factors for nut production. So there you go. A lot of nut stuff going on right there. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting one. Let's talk about this real quick. Mark Zuckerberg is recovering from surgery to repair a torn ACL. In an Instagram post, Zuck said that he incurred the injury while training for an MMA match for early next year. So there you go. Who would have known? I mean, I'm just saying, just something to think about. What else have we got going on? Country singer Zach Brown has tied the knot with actress model Kelly Yazzie. He's 45, she's 32. According to the recent report, the pair were married on August the 31st. Boy, are we really on it if it was August the 31st and we're now in November talking about this. It's Brown's second marriage. He was previously married to jeweler Shelley Brown for 12 years. They share 5 kids. Oh, my. So there you go. Some stuff to think about right there as we are talking. Anyway, so let's get into this real quick. Let's talk about the weekend box office. Let's go 10 to 1, 1 to 10. Taking it from the very bottom at number 10, Freelance was at $1.2 million. At number 9, What Happened Later, $1.5 million. At number 8 was Paw Patrol with A Mighty Movie, $1.9 million. At number 7, After Death, $2 million. The Exodus Believer, $2.7 million. At number 5, Radical with $2.7 million. At number 4, Priscilla with $5 million. The number 4 spot. At number 3 was Killers of the Flower Moons with $7 million. It was at number 3. Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour was at number 2. And at the number 1 stop, well, number 1 spot was Five Nights at Freddy's with $19.3 million. So there you go. Anyway, so let's start talking a little bit real quick. I think it might be time to talk about the matters of money, or monies of matters. So let's go ahead and do that route now and talk about some money matters right here.
Coming up in the business week ahead, there are a number of noteworthy earnings reports. Uber's third quarter results are due on Tuesday. Walt Disney reports the following day, along with Lyft, MGM Resorts, and Virgin Galactic. We'll hear from the likes of AstraZeneca and GoodRx on Thursday. Newly elected House Speaker Mike Johnson is defending a House bill that provides more than $14 billion in aid to Israel by cutting an equal amount of funding to the IRS.
That money from this giant fund, over $67 billion that's sitting there to build up the IRS, it's more important to protect Israel right now than it is to hire more IRS agents.
Speaking on Fox News Sunday, the Louisiana Republican talked about a new way of doing business in Congress. Johnson said he wants Congress to find ways to pay for spending measures instead of adding to the national debt. The bill that was passed in the House by a 226 to 196 margin faces opposition from both Democratic and Republican leaders in the Senate. President Biden, who asked Congress for a $105 billion emergency aid package that includes Ukraine, said he would veto Johnson's bill if it clears the Senate. Holiday spending is expected to hit record levels this year. The National Retail Federation projects holiday sales of about $960 billion or more during November and December. The NRF says a 3 to 4% growth rate over 2022 is not surprising, given household finances for most Americans remain in good shape. The holiday spending forecast is in line with the average annual increase of 3.6% before the COVID-19 pandemic. Atlantic City Electric's union workers have decided to strike after the two sides failed to agree to a resolution, the utility making the announcement yesterday morning after they and the IBEW Local 210 failed to reach an agreement. And the opening bell rings this morning on Wall Street after stocks closed higher Friday to cap a positive week. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 222 points to 34,061. The S&P 500 rose 40 points to 4358. The Nasdaq gained 184 points to 13,478. Consumer and Business News, Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for the data. Let's go into it. The Dow was up 222 points on Friday to close at 34,061, and the S&P added about 40 points to close at 4,358, and the Nasdaq was up to 184 points, or by 184 points, to close at 13,478. West Texas Intermediate was at $80 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $85 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.42. Bitcoin declined on Sunday, down nearly $300, trading around $34,750. There was more than 2,355 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Sunday, and more than, 50 such cancellations. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for, a $196 million jackpot or an $89.1 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you can do so. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for a $179 million jackpot or an $82.4 million cash payout. So there you go. There you go. So let's take a look real quick, because there's some stuff going on that we should probably talk about. We normally don't talk about a lot of entertainment stuff, and I want to mention this real quick. Matthew Perry was laid to rest on Friday at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Los Angeles. Among the mourners were his parents and friends and co-stars Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer, who all clung together as they said their goodbyes. Perry passed away on October the 28th at the age of 54. A cause of death is still pending toxicology reports. This is according to UPI. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there as we are talking for sure. So there you go. What do you think? What do you think? I did talk about this briefly at the very top, so let's talk about it, because I normally wouldn't mention this to the next show, but we'll talk about it now. Jessica Simpson celebrated 6 years of sobriety with a throwback post on Instagram. Simpson took an unrecognizable photo, which was taken the day that she says that she decided to stop drinking, and it captioned, 6 years ago. Her decision to quit drinking is laid out in her memoir, Open Book, where she explains the hazy Halloween in 2017 that led her to quit alcohol for good. Now Simpson is working with some new music and shopping some docuseries to networks and streamers. This is according to Vanity Fair. So there you go. Good for her. That is a long period of time to be able to do so. So let's talk real quick about some other things going on inside of the world. Former President Barack Obama is speaking out between the war between Israel and the Palestine militant group Hamas in an excerpt of an upcoming interview with Pod Save America. Obama said that the only way to find a solution to the war is to acknowledge the complexity of the situation.
If you want to solve the problem, then you have to take in the whole truth. And you then have to admit nobody's hands are clean, that all of us are complicit to some degree.
Obama condemned the Hamas attacks on October the 7th, but said that the occupation and the happening of the Palestinians is unbearable. He's also said that there is a way to find a solution to the war, to acknowledging the complexity of the situation and tell the whole truth about what in the world is going on. The full interview will be released later this week, so be on the lookout for that if you are so inclined to do so. Take a listen to this. 2 people are dead after 7 were shot in a Denver Park Hill neighborhood early Sunday morning. Lieutenant Matt Clark with the Denver police say that it started at Hell's Lover Motorcycle Club before spilling out into the parking lot.
There's evidence of gunfire outside of the club, and we do have evidence of multiple guns being discharged during this incident.
The violence broke out at 3 a.m. Sunday at a private after-hours club on East 33rd Avenue and Hudson Street. 2 men are dead and other 5 victims are in the hospital. SWAT officers led 5 men out of the club later in the morning, handcuffing 3. Clark says that the investigation is still unsure what led to the shooting. Clark, also with the Denver police, says that the area has a history of violence.
There's been incidents within this block here at 33rd and Hudson in the past. We've had several homicides, several shootings.
So there you go. Some interesting stuff going on for sure as we are talking. Take a listen to this. The 10th annual Grand Rapids Comic Con was brought thousands of people into the city this weekend over the long conversation of what was held at Devo's Place. Had SpongeBob SquarePants actor there, George Takei from Star Trek, in attendance. Take a listen.
10 years, it's a interesting feeling, because, you think you can get to this point, and I thought we could, but you're not 100% sure you can.
The event director, Mark Hodges, who says the community helps to set the convention apart from others, noting some vendors that started back in Grand Rapids and are now travel all over. Grand Rapids Comic-Con director Mark Hodges talked about what makes the event unique.
It's very community-based. A lot of the vendors sort of are more like Midwest-based, but the truth of the matter is that there's a lot of vendors who started in Grand Rapids that now are doing all over.
So there you go. Anyways, the president of Michigan Professional Firefighter Union is backing the bill that cleared a state house committee to address the firefighter staffing shortage around the state. Matthew Saar says that the state has 50 firefighters for every 100,000 people, which is less than half of what Indiana, Ohio, and Illinois have.
In the city of Wyoming, very few firefighters, considering they have a community of over 75,000 people, so they're extremely understaffed.
The bill requires minimum staffing level for to even have the contract talks. Michigan Professional Firefighters Union President Matthew Czar supports the bill for the state house and would help address firefighter shortage.
So if you're adding on extra hours or overtime or being forced over, what you're doing is you're adding to that stress level and, quite frankly, sleep deprivation and multiple other issues that come along with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps to that particular segment as we are talking about it. No doubt about that whatsoever as we are talking. What else do we have going on? Let's take a look around before we get into our main story, because maybe that's going to be important. Let's talk about this real quick. Some new records have been set at the 52nd New York City Marathon. Here's some more information about what happened on Sunday.
Tamarit Tola from Ethiopia is the winner of the men's race with a new course record of 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 58 seconds. Helen Obiri from Kenya is the winner of the women's race. Marcel Hug from Switzerland is the winner in the men's wheelchair race. He missed the course record by 3 seconds. And Catherine De Brunner, also from Switzerland, won the women's wheelchair race, winning her first New York City Marathon and beating the course record, giving her an additional $50,000. The 26.2-mile race started in Staten Island and ended in Manhattan Central Park. Jacqueline Carl, NBC News Radio, New York.
That is a lot of running. There is no doubt about that as we are talking, for sure. Anyway, so let's get into this thing that we call a main story and see what exactly will happen today. No doubt about that one.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So here we are, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, and we're hanging out, and we're taking a look, and we're talking about the things that are going on inside of the world of the news, and now it's time to talk about some things that are going on inside of safety land. Yep, so we'll talk about that because it's been a very interesting time frame in taking a look and what is going on inside of the industry. It is always interesting to take a look about what the heck is going on when we are hanging out and doing our thingo, no doubt about that. But boy, can I say that things have gotten to the level of strange as of late? Or should I say the level of fringe? Or should I say the level of what the hell is going on with portions of our industry? And particularly the people that offer services to other organizations. Do you remember, like, in the late 90s, if you're that old, of course, and you can still see it from time to time, some of these older ministers that you would see on TV that will talk about preaching the gospel? Why is it that there's this weird flare all of a sudden with some of the safety speakers that are out and about, that is almost the approach that is being taken nowadays in regards of, you need to hear my concept of safety, and if you do it, I can take you to the promised land. I'm getting very confused on how that's coming about. I mean, and they do this thing where if you're on video with me, you'll see where they do this close thing where the hands are close to the screen and they're telling you about all the stuff that they can do for your organization and all. I mean, it's really, really strange. I don't get it. I don't understand what that is helping in the long run. I don't know what that is helping in regards of people trying to sell their service so hard as if they are the only way to get you to be safe. It's very strange. I don't know what's happening. But anyways, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Is that what you're looking for as you look for an organization in regards of the things that need to happen? Is that what you're looking for when you start going, okay, the world is going to move forward in regard to what is happening? Listen, I think that a lot of the stuff that we do has to be based in reality, where a lot of the stuff that's coming about lately seems to be a little bit over the top. And certain things will only get you to a point. Because, listen, I have noticed that these ministers of safety that are going out and trying to do, these particular portion of what the ministers look like in the 90s, once most organizations get them there, it's almost like a one-time shot. They do it one time and they never are to be seen again. And it becomes weird like that because it's almost like going out on a date with someone. If it only happens one time and that's it, more than likely things did not go as well as you hoped for. So, I don't know. When you are vetting people to bring them in to help with your organization, what do you take a look at? Because some people get all hung up about, oh, well, this is the same amount of social media followers that I have, so this is important. This is the amount of listeners that I have on my podcast. This is the amount of listeners I have on my radio show. I even saw one not so long ago that the guy was talking about that he was on the same network of people that Oprah was on. Like, this was a big sell on why you should use him as a safety consultant. And I got bad news. This was kind of a free tier form on that he was talking about. I mean, that would be like me coming in right now and saying, by the way, when I was on vacation, I was able to go in front of Oprah's house in the Bahamas. I mean, okay, I don't know how it changed anything. It doesn't make me a better safety professional. So maybe when you start vetting some of these people, maybe you should look at the information that they are spewing. I will tell you that safety is kind of interesting on how it works, on how people go niche points. Like, there's a guy that's out there right now that everything that's going to save safety, according to how he puts it, is technology. And all he sells is the technology pieces of what is going to happen and how that information is going to resolve everything for you. I mean, it was interesting because we did an event a few months back, where he spoke before we did, and it was pretty interesting just to hear some of the spewing of what happens. I don't know. We're in a very interesting time, that's for sure. What are you looking for, and what will resolve some of the things that you want to take place inside of your organization? Maybe that is some of the questioning that you should ask before you get into this very strange world of safety consulting, and I guess these safety evangelists that are out there.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Well, you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks. So with the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with fast chef prepared, dietitian approved, and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs. Dietitian-approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Here we are at 44 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Monday. Yes, Monday.
You
this right here?
Your own energy. The life force behind that body.
This is right here. This is MHC with Lucid. Yeah, you can give it a little streamer action. You can give it a little download action. Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Spotify. Yep, there you go. Are you dreaming?
Deeper you go.
Okay, thank you to MHC for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yes, we do appreciate it because, hey, we'd like to play all the new and interesting music. By the way, I had to tell you over the weekend, I have discovered this band over the last few days by the name of Canon. Boy, has it been some interesting music and videos. Taking a look around at what's going on. Bad Dreams probably have to be one of the favorite ones so far. We'll talk about that more during hour 2 and 3, of course, because that's what we do around here. We talk about all that stuff. So anyways, with that being said, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. And I got to hang out with them over the weekend, and that's my friends at Trite Love on Her Arms. Yes, no matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. Trite Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now, and healing is possible. No, seriously, healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to twloha.com. That's twloha.com. And then once you get there, click on the section that says Find Help. Seriously, click on the section that says Find Help. Once you actually do that, it will change everything for you. I'm telling you, there's all kinds of information there that will assist you, help you, and so on. No doubt about that. So that's all you have to do is go over there and click away, because that will take you places to where you might want to be and take a look around at, for sure. No doubt about it. Anyway, so here you are, 46 minutes into the hour. What do you have planned this week? Anything out of the ordinary? Anything different? Anything that will make you go, life is about to change for me? I'm just asking because I'm always curious on how that works. I'm always curious on how things will change for you as life does go on. Seriously, there's so many interesting things to be doing in our lifetime that I never know what people are working on. And I'm always curious because, listen, life can change in an instant and you never know what's going to happen. I mean, take a pause for the cause here as we're talking about this. Because there's so many things that happen in one's lifetime. I mean, think about it. Think about wherever the hell you were 10 years ago. And are you now at a place that you thought that you would be 10 years ago? Right now. Like right now, are you where you thought you were going to be 10 years ago? Are you in a better place? Are you in a different place? Are you in a place that you didn't think it was going to take you places that you wanted to go to, but you're so glad that you're there now? Because that's what I think people sometimes tend to forget. Maybe life did not go exactly as planned, but boy, do some cool things really happen in life as life does go on. Now, you might be sitting here for a moment going, where in the hell are you going with this? That's a great question. I would love to answer that question myself too, but I have no clue. I just think that sometimes life is so unpredictable, and it's a good thing. Because some people go, no, it has to be planned and sorted out ahead of time. Nah, I don't think so. I totally disagree with that. So there you go. So some fun stuff going on. Let's continue talking, because why would we not want to talk some more about some other things happening inside of the lifetime? Anyways, 48 minutes past the top of the hour. What can I tell you about? What can we talk about? What can we take a look at? Well, a little bit of everything. Let me tell you this one, because there's the anger angle. So you've heard that term. You mad, bro? Well, it might be a good thing. And if you got some of that challenging assignments ahead of you today, well, let me tell you this. Researchers have found that getting angry can be a powerful motivator, or even a motivation, leading to better results when tackling tricky tasks. A team at Texas A&M University conducted an experiment involving more than 1,000 people to explore the impact of anger of people of various circumstances, and they found that those who were angry did better in challenges than those who in other emotional states. The researchers say that one explanation could be down to the link between anger and greater persistence. They found that those who were angry spent more time on difficult tests. Another contributing factor is test results also suggested that they are angry increased the degree of which participants cheated. Yeah, this explains how every boss I've ever had got to be boss. And so much for power of positive thinking, I guess. I mean, what the hell happened there? That changed some things. I mean, think about it for a moment. Isn't that what you've heard before? So there you go. Anyways, take a listen to this one real quick. Miami-Dade is going green for Veterans Day. Commissioner Ellen Higgins is sponsoring Operation Greenlight, an ordinance ensuring that all major county buildings are lit green this week in honor of the men and women who gave and served in the armed forces.
This gives us an opportunity to highlight all of the events that are going to go on during Veterans Day and the week leading up to Veterans Day.
She says South Florida played a huge role in training World War II service members who were trained on Miami Beach for the landing. There is no school on Friday in Miami-Dade or in Broward in observance of Veterans Day on Saturday. Commissioner Ellen Higgins says that she wants to honor the men and women who served in the armed forces.
To really light up any official building in green as a visible reminder of how important the veterans are.
Higgins says that South Florida played a major role into preparing for their armed forces. Take a listen to what she had to say exactly.
A lot of people, particularly younger people, don't know that World War II veterans trained in Miami Beach for amphibious landings.
So there you go. You heard it from the horse's mouth, that's for sure, in regards of what is going on. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we do this one real quick? Why don't we bring in some John Smalls and talk about the Motivation Minute? Because, hey, listen, I want you to be motivated as we're starting the week. No doubt about that.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Gary. Charles Bukowski said, "I don't pay attention to the world ending. It's ended for me many times and began again the next morning." What an outlook. But think about that for a moment. How many times have we been told that this is the end, even during our lifetime? It's been a bunch of times. At a certain point, you kind of just say, okay, what is it this time? I'm not saying throw caution to the wind, but I also wouldn't spend hours watching the news every day just to see what to worry about today. There was a time when the news would all fit in 1 hour every evening. Now we have 24 hours to fill and several channels competing for your attention. That's all. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
The federal government says just half the people eligible for the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infants, and children actually got benefits from the program known as WIC. Just over 6 million got benefits. New York City restaurants will have to disclose when extra sugar is added to menu items starting in 2025. We all love sugar, and that's the problem. We're consuming way too much of it, so the New York City Council has passed a first-of-its-kind law requiring local units of restaurant chains with 15 branches or more nationwide to add sugar icons to their menus. They'd have to disclose when food or beverages contain 100% or more of the recommended daily allowance of sugar. The Centers for Science in the Public Interest applauds the new law, saying a New Yorker dies every 90 seconds of a diabetes-related health issue. Health updates, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 53 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are still hanging out on this lovely. Yeah, it's so lovely that it is a Monday, but let's continue talking a little bit. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date as I take a look around. Let's see. Back in 2022, the Powerball jackpot rises to a record $1.9 billion after 3 months and no winning ticket. The following day, Edwin Castro of California would win more than $2 billion in the drawing. So there you go. That happened 2022, a year ago. Yep, just 1 year ago. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Taking it from the top, Pearson Fode turns 32. Emma Stone turns 35. Lamar Odom turns 44. Tareen Manning turns 45. Sal Vulcano turned 47. Rebecca Romaine turns 51. Let's see. Ethan Hawke turns 53. Kelly Ruthard turns 55. And Sally Fields turns 77 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I have some of those for you, because why would we not talk about that? It's National Nachos Day. It's National Saxophone Day, Job Action Day, and National Broadcast Traffic Professional Day. Yeah, that is a day to celebrate. No doubt about that as we are talking. Let's talk about a few more things before we get you out of here. Calls for Mayor Brandon Johnson's floor leader to step down are growing after he was accused of bullying a city council colleague in Chicago. A group of community activists say that they want the alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa to resign over allegations of he physically restrained the alderman Emma Mitz from entering the city hall chamber last week during a chaotic council meeting related to Chicago's sanctuary city status.
We asked him to resign. The behavior is inappropriate, unacceptable. We don't feel that he can run our city or even help with the immigrants.
The New York Alderman Black Caucus also released a statement saying that they want Ramirez Rosa to stop and step down as the floor leader and publicly apologize to Mitz. So there you go. Some interesting stuff. No doubt about that as we are talking. What do you think here? What do you think should happen? I don't know. There you go. Anyways, take a listen to this. Did you know lazy tourists visiting the scenic mountain spots of China Providence can now skip the climb altogether and ride a giant escalator hundreds of meters long to reach the best views? Tour operators have installed a massive escalator on mountains, making it scenic spots that were once only accessible to hiking and precautious trails, now available to anyone. Why did they climb the mountain? Because the escalator was there. So there you go. That's going on in China right now. So now you have the did you now. So there you go for the did you now. Anyways, if you need a phone starter for today, let's try this one. What childish thing do you still enjoy? There's so many that I could list. Not even funny. If you need a random joke for today, try this. Today, I'm doing nothing because I started doing it yesterday and I wasn't finished, and I'm no quitter. If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. Question. 35% of gamers say that they are frustrated by this. What is it? The sounds of chips crunching in their headphones when they're playing. So there you go. I mean, it is important. It is very important to talk about. So there you go. That's going to end our time together at the top of the hour. We will have Sheldon Primus taking over on Safety FM and doing the world of safety consulting. If you want to come to the other side of the house and go to radiobig.fm, if you're not there already, you can take a listen to what I will be doing for the next couple hours or so, talking about the world of music and entertainment, because that's what we do over there. So you're more than welcome to come and hang out, radiobig.fm. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do what we do around here. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for this lovely Monday, every now and then, it's good to stop climbing and appreciate the view from right where you are. Listen, no escalator needed for that particular one. That is for sure. Anyways, with that being said, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.